I suppose I want to say a few words why we're doing this and how we came about the idea of doing this. I was chatting to Andy's mum, Jan, one day, and she was telling me how her and Andy love listening to music when they're in her room in ICU in Tullamore. And she was listening to Dermot Kennedy, Giants. And for Andy to get Jan's attention when Jan isn't looking at her, because Andy has no voice, she can mouth words, she blows raspberries. So she blows her raspberries, her little lips, and Jan looks up and she looks at her and she said, "What's up?" And Andy goes, "I used to be a giant." And this kind of sparked something in me and definitely touched something on a deeper level for Andy. For her, she's 5 years in hospital this year, and for her, I want her to know that we all think she is a giant, and she is a giant in all our minds. But I think she was especially referring to the days when she was playing rugby, because if you played against Andy, you would definitely know she was an absolute giant. And we wouldn't just be saying this about anyone, but like it's because it's Andrea Brocken, and anyone who's talked, it's coming from their heart, and it's so meant. And I suppose Andy, I didn't want her to go another day without knowing how her impact on rugby as a female player in Port Darlington and Kildare, and as a coach under 16s and under 18s, like chat to a few of the girls doing this, has really shown me a different side to Andy that I didn't even know. I want you, Andy, to know what you mean to us, the impact you've had in all our lives through rugby, outside of rugby. And we've come together with the help from lovely Calvin, and we're putting this together to show you what you mean to us and the impact you've had on rugby itself. And as a female rugby player, you will be forever remembered because you're a legend, and you will always be a legend. But I also wanted to say your strength continues. As I mentioned before, you're 5 years in hospital, and your strength continues. Your strength and your will to keep going, to keep your positive thoughts for your family and for your kids. It doesn't go unseen. So this is for you, you absolute ledge bag. Thanks for coming out, Kim. I suppose, we're doing this little video for Andy, and she's showing her how important she is to everybody and all of us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you your first memory or anything important about Andy you would like to talk about.
So, like a couple of memories, like I was so saying to Lauren, like because they're only going to Andy, I will talk about them. But like one of the funniest things was, and I'm really bad because I can't even remember like the team we were playing, but I remember we were playing, and I'm nearly sure we were in Kildare, and Sinead Lawler was the captain of the team, and whoever we were playing were like, like we obviously play ourselves, like we'd never do anything dirty in the match, blah, blah, blah. And something happened to Kim Dempsey, and she ended up kicking someone up the hole that was bent over. I know that. And then they were like, oh, like I remember them saying to the ref, someone's after biting me, like blah, blah, blah. And we were like, there's absolutely no way that somebody would be biting on our team or whatever. And Andy wasn't there when we were saying that. And then she comes walking over a while later and goes, I bit the head of her. And I was like, oh my God. And they were all like, Auntie, she's like, oh, what? That was like just such a, like, at the time you're like, ee! But then afterwards we're like, remember when it's so funny. And like there was a whole investigation going on the pitch, like there's absolutely nobody. And then Andy was like, I'm not fighting her. Oh, it was so funny.
Oh, that's a brilliant story. I suppose, have you any funny, memorable stories on or off the pitch about Andy you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, well, like remember we were in the anvil and we have all the pictures of us like measuring our muscles and stuff like that. And then like I remember, and this was not long before everything happened with Andy and COVID and everything happened. But I remember we were going to Kildare, we must have been, because we picked her up in the car and she was coming out with us. And I don't think she'd been out training since. She'd been sick the first time. And so she was probably just coming to watch or whatever, but she was showing us a video of her little fella on the trampoline out the back garden. And she was like, oh, here he is, and it's on the trampoline. But all you could hear in the background was her when she was recording the video. I was like, and she was just giggling and laughing and like getting such a joy out of seeing him like playing. It was just lovely. Like, I loved that. And that was such angry. She was like a firecracker on the pitch, a firecracker off the pitch, and like just a little mammy right down for the kids. Crazy about them, like, and you could see that when she talked about them, or when she was around them, just like amazing mommy, and scary Conans.
That's lovely, Kate, and that's so nice.
And also another thing, Andy, because I remember her saying to me before about epilating your legs. Oh, she was like, I epilate. I was like, what's that? And she's telling me all about it. I epilate now all the time. Only exclusively epilate my legs. So thanks for that, Andy.
What a thing to say.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask if you had like another little message you wanted to say to Andy.
Thank you for telling me about bleeding. No, I suppose like the biggest message for Andy is we miss her. Like, and I really want Andy to know that, like, every time, my biggest fear was, and I talked to you about this already, like, I just didn't want Andy to think that like she got sick and everyone forgot about her. Sorry. Because that's absolutely not the truth. And like, I just want Andy to know that every time since she's had the sickness and that, like, every time that we've stepped, I definitely know for myself, and I know with the other girls too, because they talked about it, like, every time I've stepped on the pitch since, I always think of Andy, like, and, just that we really miss you and we love you so much. And, I would love to go and see you.
Yes.
And like, I love looking back on the memories and thinking about them, and like the thing with the biting of the head and like all the stories. Like, the other thing as well was, do you remember we were in the Anvil one night and someone brought in bottles of like their own bottles of Budweiser and they had a different like label on them, and the staff come over and they were going mad, like, and Andy was there and everything, and it was just hilarious. Like, it's all these little things like that. It's just lovely to look back on. But like, my biggest memory is like our kids, really, like. And when we were doing the Give It a Try thing at the schools this couple of years ago now, I went down to the school to do it with the girls' school, like, and Elena was doing it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, like her whole class were doing it, and she was over with me and she was like, my mum plays. And I was like, I know your mum and played with her. And she's like, yeah. I was like, she's a brilliant player. You're really strong like her. And she's like, yeah. She's every bar of her. Like,
Brilliant.
yeah, but yeah, just we love you and we miss you lots.
Well, to be honest, I can't remember the first night she came training or how she got involved. But like, I just remember she was fierce and she was such a presence on the pitch. And just from the get-go, she was just there. You know what I mean? And like, she just gave 110%, no matter what she was doing. And I loved how, like, we were kind of talking earlier about memories and stuff. And I remember being at the bottom of a ruck and Geraldine had rucked over me and Andy was picking the ball. And I was like, what? She kicked it out. And I was like, what? But like, she didn't care. She was like, this is what we needed at the time. I could throw my boot to and hope for the best.
She fit in anywhere.
She fit in anywhere. And like, I think it was just like her physicality and her, passion for the game, like, was just phenomenal for someone who didn't come from a real rugby background.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she was such an asset to the team. Like that, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I was fucking half afraid of her. Like, you know what I mean?
We all were.
I can only imagine what the other teams were like when Andy was playing. So yeah, like that's I suppose, yeah, I can't remember her first training session, but yeah, she was there.
But she sticks out for you anyway.
Yeah.
And do you have any like memorable stories on or off the pitch kind of Andy?
There is a story. Now, I'm not directly involved, but
Okay.
a night out in Portlaoise. And I know it basically, I don't know where I was. Maybe I was in college or I don't know, but basically Geraldine and Andy got arrested. They ended up at the car station.
I remember that.
Sinead to go and get them out. And like, I just remember, like, Sinead was going fucking mad at Geraldine. But like, Geraldine, Sinead was meant to keep an eye on the two girls for the duration of the night, or whatever the conditions were, they were let out. But Sinead, like, basically dropped Andy home and, like...
How'd you go?
But I think that was kind of like, that was very much the rugby club at that time. We were a big presence on the pitch and we were an even bigger presence off the pitch. And, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good story. I remember that very well. I was there for that. I remember getting the phone call. Yeah. And I suppose, Martina, if there's any little message or anything you want to say to Andy, because she'll be looking at this.
Just that I hope you're well, and like, although we only played together for a short period of time, you had like lasting memories on me. You know what I mean? Huge influence on me and everything in the rugby club. So yeah, just know that everybody here thinks of you. You know.
I'm going to ask you, how do you know Andy, and what was your first interaction with Andrea Brocken?
Oh God, pre-rugby, I have to start there.
Yeah.
We lived in the same area. I was new into town and I was after joining the rugby club, and we were starting off and we were desperate for numbers. So I was constantly like sizing up the potential in the area, and I spotted Andy one day. And I remember just kind of randomly starting a conversation with her and thinking, would you be interested in rugby? No. So I was in my mother-in-law's at the time, and I looked across the road and there was Andy, and she was helping her sister. She was going into the house and she was lifting the front door with her bare hands while the men were chatting in the garden.
Of course.
Yeah, to let the kids into the house to make space for the buggy. And I just thought, I can't sit here. I can't finish my tea. I have to go and approach this girl. And I just said, Andy, will you please consider, I'll bring you, please come out to rugby. After seeing that, like, I just thought it was beast mentality. I was like, we need that. And yeah, that was the beginning of something
Like that.
beautiful. Yeah.
Very beautiful. And you played rugby with Andy. You
Played
side
rugby
by side.
for years with Andy, side by side. I feel like I have the cheekiest grin when I'm talking about Andy.
Yeah.
Because she was bowled. She was bowled on the pitch.
Spot by foot.
Yeah. And look, I was right there with her, and she was the one person on a pitch you could look at with just a look. And she's like, I know. We've got this, Dempsey. We've got this. And we'd attack together. Sometimes it wasn't even through words. Like, she was just that ride or die girl that was wild enough to take matters into her own hands, no matter what way you look. And many times I stand her going, Ref, it wasn't me. Or I'd say, Andy, a bit much. She would take it on, but it was all in the best one. And we have so many fun memories, and equally not just on the pitch, but off the pitch straight away down to the Ambles Sunday night. Andy was the one on the rugby pitch, and I'm sure in temperament even still now, Andy was somebody and is somebody that has a unique ability to reassure you no matter what's going wrong, whether it be on the pitch, in the kitchen, at home with your relationships. Andy always had an arm sure around everybody. Like, she always kind of just dug in as a sister and was like, you know. And like, I'm sure she's like, we don't see her enough anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today. And that is so sad, like, and she's so missed. But I laugh because it's the carry on of us. I laugh because if you're getting sick at the back of the bus, she was laughing at you and slagging you for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I laugh for the cheekiness and her determination to win.
That's it. Yeah. She had like.
And it stands for her. Look at her, she's faced so much medical adversity, like nobody else could sustain it. And Andy, it's standing to her.
That's it.
That like amazing character.
And when you think of Andy, is there any specific story or any story that would come to mind?
I think like it was an
What you're
endless
allowed to
laugh
say.
with her, yeah. Like her language was off the charts. She taught me what bad words were. I thought I knew, and then there was Andy. But like I have so many, like, do you know what it is like? Just to even summarize it, right, without going too wild. She was the one you could be guaranteed to back from number 1 to number 15 and everyone on the bench.
Absolutely.
So, as you know, in a contact sport, it's going to be wild at times. Andy made it wilder. And that's as PG as I can take it. There were so many things that I think, I don't know if I can share that. But you know what? She was herself, and she made a sisterhood among us. Like, she was the type of girl that would jump into us women were, it was a little bit different. I suppose things are improving, but it was kind of a little bit before the time of modern rugby play, I guess. You know what I mean? And we were sitting in sheds, and you'd hear Andy laughing. And then she'd be sizing up the prey, getting off the buses, and she'd be like, see her, Dempsey? Yeah, I'm not afraid of her. Oh, she just wants to swap places with me. I'll take her on, you know. And she'd make you laugh. But you know what? She's the kindest person ever. And what I always noticed afterwards when 2 teams came in after, and she would have given them a hammering, or we would have took a hammering. It didn't matter. Like, we never took a hammering gracefully. I won't say who did. We talked to the bitter end, whether it was within the rules or outside the rules. But she always had a smile for even opposing teams. And I've stayed in contact with a lot of players and teams who played over the years. And it was always grueling. Like, we fought to the bitter end, and times we didn't win and times we did. And we always have a laugh about conversations they may have had with Andy afterwards. She held no grudges because it was never meant to be that. She was just, and is the most amazing girl. Like, she really is. And she's so inclusive. And she finds a common ground with everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, from the very best player to the most struggling player, Andy really did find a way to spur people on. And if you weren't pulling your weight, you were going to know about it. Now, so forget about it, what's that whistle went. If you weren't pulling your weight, Andy'd either do double to pick up the pieces, or she'd let it go and say, right, next week we've got again. She was like, it was amazing. I feel like in all the years of playing rugby, she was one of them people on the rugby pitch that was a privilege to, and I always have such a glow and thought, like, it's a real warm feeling to think, I'm so glad I pestered her. I'm so glad I seen her potential, because she just thrived in it. Do you know, and she was such a glue, wasn't she?
Definitely
She
cool.
was wild. Yeah. She was mad. She still is mad, but she really was mad on the pitch. That's where it was her time to shine, to let it all out, and it was amazing. Like, and to know, look, like I said, it's standing to her now to face things that not many people.
That's right.
Yeah, and she gets to be around for her kids and be around for her family, and not everyone with what she's faced medically would be able to say,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yep. So how do you know Andy, and what's your first encounter with Andy?
Yeah, so we met Andy then when we started playing rugby, so she was our coach. I don't know, first impressions kind of, yeah, very scared of her.
Really?
Yeah, we were.
Okay, and who was coaching you with Andy?
Alongside Mick and Lilo.
Mick and Leo. Oh, very good. So you had a nice a trio there.
It was quite funny.
And tell me, between Lilo and Andy, who was the nice one and who was the harsh punisher?
Lilo's. Lilo started telling us to shut up and crazy sessions, and I feel like Andy would have been the soft one, but doesn't come across as a soft one on the pitch.
Definitely not. And did you ever watch Andy play rugby?
Yeah.
Well, what would rather?
Yeah. Very. Yeah. Kind of an inspiration though for when we went up to seniors, like looking at how strong she is, like we could be that strong as well one day.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you have any memorable stories of or memories of Andy, or anything that sticks out in your head?
Just when she was coaching us, she used to always kind of just take the piss out.
Oh, that's a good one. So you always had a laugh at it.
Yeah,
Well,
that was nearly that fine.
that's good. That's lovely. And you can send a little message to Andy if you want.
You doing well, Andy? Yeah. We'll all be keeping well.
That's lovely, girls. Thanks so much.
No problem.
So you know what we're doing here. We're doing a little video for our good friend Andy, who is the third person to our trio.
Three cooked dude.
Yeah, it's not of a three amigos, but
The wolf pack.
yeah. And so, how did you come, Franson?
Rugby.
Rubbing.
Yeah. Because she came out and was great at her first session.
How was the first session?
It was a lot of questions of, am I supposed to be here? No. No, where am I supposed to be? Just come with me, you'll be all right. We'll get you somewhere.
So you were very helpful.
No. Because I didn't know what I was doing either.
I suppose like Auntie is a rugby player. Well, how like
She minded me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck the opposition. Like, she gives shit about them. On multiple occasions.
and would you rather have played with Andy or played against Andy?
It depends. You could probably confuse her. Or she'd kick over me because she knew I wouldn't be able to run after it. But no, probably where it was safer.
Why?
Oh, because fucking hit by her. It's just, it hurts even thinking about it.
She big hitter.
No, she just handed everybody off where Paul. And you got it right in the face. Every time. Or your nose. Don't know why she kept hitting your nose, but she enjoyed hitting your nose. You'd be so tick.
And had you a funny story or a significant story on or off the rugby pitch?
If actually that many, we'd be here all
What's one?
What's one? Probably our first match.
What?
So she, for some reason, chased a kick, I think, and caught a ball, landed on her stomach, and then passed it to the opposition, who were wearing a very different jersey. I think it was Clondalk. I think they were yellow, and we were maroon. And I remember we were all stood beside at the try line thing going, right, lads, who's going to tell her? And the two of us looked at each other and went, fucking not going to be me. I think it was your dad that went, Andy, did they look like they played with you? No. Why'd you give them the ball, Andy? I don't know.
I remember that mouse.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I don't think she ever made that mistake.
No, she just did like to kick an awful lot for a prop.
Yeah, she did.
And you'd be dead at the bitch of kick.
But she was willing to chase it though.
Like, fuck, because I wasn't. Running in muck and rain and horridness, and this fucking idiot would kick, and you'd go, for fuck's sake. Who gave her that ball to kick?
Have you any other fond memories of our time when we were all playing rugby together?
It was probably dragging to matches,
Yeah.
hungover,
Yeah.
taking our makeup off in the car. And then you two squealing on me because I didn't look like I was out, and you two dickheads did. Mascara running down your face. Let them swim. We're all gonna die. Or the time you kicked her when she lifted you. Not way. Yes, you did, because she used to lift you from the back, and you had this lovely way of kicking your foot back.
Yeah.
And absolutely creaming someone that was behind you. She had scratches on her tummy and everything from your boots.
I think she gave you butts for now.
Yeah, you didn't. Oh, deserved. Well deserved.
And I suppose had you, but you could say at the end of the message, we're about to see her anyway. But yeah,
Like,
and that is suitable.
yeah, very fair.
Thanks, Mick, for coming out.
No problem, Laura.
And we're just going to have a chat about Andy. How do you know Andy?
Andy the legend. I suppose I got to know Andy way back, probably 2016 or 17, I think, when Laura amalgamated with Port Down. And I was doing a small bit of coaching and fitness with them at the time because my daughter Hannah was playing. And of course, her and Andy became good friends.
Best friend.
And the famous Lilo.
Yeah.
So we got very close. And I suppose it started, I used to do a lot of giving out and shouting, and especially for smoking and that time. And they were caught a few times, or a Lilo.
What? No.
But then I suppose I couldn't shout that much anymore. So then I took a back seat, became more of a supporter than a coach. So we used to have the crack that way.
And as a supporter, what was it like to watch Andy as a rugby player?
I have to say, once you crossed the whitewash, she's just become a different person. There's all that messing and madness. She just changes into her rugby. And
That's it.
I'd say probably a team player, I call her. As Andy, as well as playing for herself, she just looked out for everybody around her. And I suppose to call her a steamroller in a nice way.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, she was really good. You know, she'd always gain ground and make yards, but she was always looking at who's going behind her. And another thing as well, never selfish.
Yeah.
I've seen Andy a few times could have scored a try and she gave it off to somebody else. Yeah. You know, so like a pleasure to watch. But a rogue and it's like,
And when you think back to those days, is there anything particular that sticks out for Andy? Any matches or anything that you can remember? Any funny stories or anything?
there's one, and I'm trying to remember actually where we were playing somewhere in Dublin.
Okay.
And I was getting serious because it was half time. I think there was a try between two teams, and I think Port Dara had to stay up or they were getting promoted. It was the first time in the league. It was all really serious. And we were all in the middle, big huddle, blah, 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 blah. I was saying, where's Andy? Where's Lila? And Hannah, of course, snitches get stitches. She said, I saw them going out around the back. I went out in the reception, Lila was sitting on the windowsill. But I kind of gave out a little bit to them. And then they went back in, but your hair they didn't need to be told what to do because I think she actually won that match. We won, I think, by a point. I think then they scored the try under both. We're trying to remember if it was a Trinity or...
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
I think it was. Didn't stop her anywhere.
Always in good form, always in good spirits and always.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
Even when she was in bad form, she put you in good form.
Yeah, she would definitely. Yeah. They're great words, Mick. I suppose if you have a message for Andy, you could speak to the camera and say what you want.
Yeah. Just here, Andy, and catch up, getting old. Look, keep the head up, and I know you will anyway, and everybody's digging for you. I know Hannah was home for Christmas, and Hannah would be mad to be here now and talk to you as well, but like everyone, you're very well loved. We'll never ever forget about you, we never will, so. And you keep the head up, keep going. Get that try for us. Well done.
Brilliant, Mick. That's brilliant. Thanks a million.
How's that?
Well, Rosie from Portlaoise, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome here.
Thank you.
I suppose we're doing this little video for Andy, who you will remember very well.
Yes. Yeah.
I suppose.
Imprinted on the mind.
I suppose I'll ask you, what's your first memory or impression of Andy?
Okay, well, I was thinking about this outside, and we were saying, I think we were probably teammates before we were ever rivals, but because we amalgamated when Portdara, Portlaoise, Portarlington and Kildare all amalgamated together, which would have been really unusual for Portlaoise and Portarlington to amalgamate because we were supposed to be rivals, but it was brilliant because it kept all the teams going. So I kind of, when you see that from that perspective, that you're a very good teammate. And then when we had to play against each other, there was always that undertone of, camaraderie, but that's all, when you go out on the pitch, it's pure sort of madness, and certainly myself and Andy both have that. And also, I think, I think when we would come up against each other, that would be...
Two ferocious women.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But like I always say, that's a good thing in rugby because afterwards you can dust yourself down and have a pint in the clubhouse afterwards, which we always would have too. So
Yeah.
that was enjoyable.
And for any match in particular that would stick out playing against Andy, or altercation or interaction?
I actually I don't know if we ever had any altercations. Not that I can. If we did, I buried them, and probably if we did, I would have lost, and that's probably why my ego will have buried it. But no, I can't. Just pure camaraderie and just getting on with each other, and even just in stature and all of that, we were very similar. So I think both of us were nearly threatened equally by each other. So, and then obviously being in the scrum together, you would be threatened by somebody. But there was never. The one thing I love whenever I play against anybody who treats me like they want to be treated on the pitch, and that will give as good as they have against you and then expect that in return. And that's what you always got from Andy, is that she will give everything on the pitch and she would settle for no less from you either. And if she thought you were holding back, she would not be impressed with you at all about that. So you always give as good as you could get with her, and there was never a row. No, I can't think. Maybe there was. Jesus, Leanne, do you remember a row?
To my knowledge, I don't remember.
No.
I know there was plenty when we played against.
Sure, I would never fight or row. I was very innocent on
Like it was seven.
yeah. And never get in trouble with the ref.
No. And I suppose, as a similar player, like, what was it like to play against somebody of your stature, kind of you know, like a big strong woman.
Yeah. Well, like I never underestimated anyone on the pitch. Even like you come up against an iron. I remember, sometimes you tackle someone and you might gently put them down because you knew you were bigger than them. But like I said, you never held back when it comes to somebody who was given 100%. And Andy always did give 100%. But there was always a giggle in the scrum or like a poke fun at you or things like that we'd be trying to get the best out of you, which I love that when you come up against that, even if you're not willing to give 100% on that day, or you might be hanging or whatever it is, but it was always that push to go on and give your best, like when you're up against somebody that is the same size as you and sort of able, and definitely isn't going to hold back, so you couldn't hold back yourself, so that was important, or else you were going to get hurt. But I don't think we ever hurt each other or ever even hurt each other physically or our feelings or anything. It was always just equals, yeah. On and off the pitch though, and there was always like a friendly smile, and if I seen her out and about, she'd always be, the wave or whatever. And that's probably one of the things I love most about rugby as well, is that whatever happens on the pitch, even if you're the worst fucking rifles like Fort Tarlington and Portlaoise should have been, we always got along, and the scoreline was the scoreline, but what happened afterwards, you just were friends, and that's so important.
That was lovely. And I suppose if you have a little message for Andy, you can speak away to her there.
Hi, Andy. I'm always thinking of you. I miss rugby, but I miss playing with a good team as well. And I'm always thinking of you. And just, you're in my heart all the time. And I think rugby bonds people together. I know maybe it sounds a little bit cliche, but it does bond people together. So I feel bonded to you. So, hello.
For sure. That was lovely, Rosie. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What's your worst we're
Go, girl.
Did we ever have a fight?
What is your first memory or something that sticks out of your mind about Andy?
It wouldn't really be the rugby. It would be after the rugby games. Getting dressed in my house and the pre-drinks in my house, and watching Andy trying to walk in the high heels in my house badly, and loving when you came home to tell the stories afterwards about what went down that night, and not so much the hangovers the next day. You were always joy, Andy, coming into my house. Always, always. And we're always welcome, and still are, sweetheart.
Is there anything else that sticks out of your mind, like Andy, on the pitch? Did you ever come and look at our matches, even though I know that was hard for you?
Well, but I always said it. I could watch Stephen play. I could watch Frank play. I got very hard to watch you play. I didn't mind watching Andy play because she could handle herself very... And she had your backs. She had all of your backs, I will say that. Plus her mum on the sideline,
Yes.
and John looked after you.
Which are the two of you did, like with food.
I'm with the food, yeah. And that's another thing, actually. Andy was always, after the matches, would be first in to say, do you want a hand with the sandwiches? Or
what?
Actually, no, a lot of other girls did, but Andy, I do remember always in, what can I do for you, Mammy Breda? And that's that.
Just not else you want to talk about, or
Well, I had the two kids in my house there
Evan and Leia?
a couple of weeks ago at my Kyla's birthday party. And I have to say, Andy, they're brilliant.
Yes.
Evan is a little gentleman, an absolute gentleman. And it was a pleasure. And he will always be welcome in my house as well, same as you are. Gorgeous kid. She was so gentle with the other kids and the small kids, the busybody, but bit like her mammy as well, but an absolute dote. It was a pleasure to have them in my house. And it'll always be that way.
If you have a little message for Andy, if you want to send her or say anything.
Well, just that she's always on our minds. I love when I meet her mum because she's invariably on the phone to you and I get to say hello to you and fucking blind to you, which, I'm never going to change who I am. And I do love it when I meet Jan and she's chatting to you. And I get a chance. It's a privilege to be able to talk to you like we always did.
So there's no Andy.
I knew Andy from a young age because I live on Bracknell Street and Andy lives in Arlington State, which is only around the corner. And I remember playing on the green and these two Brocken girls, very, big girls, girls who like to mess with, came over. And myself and my sister Maggie were together. And we were kind of going, right, what way is this good? Because Arrington is saying to Square were not to be rough areas. And the two girls came over and they were lovely and they were nice, and we played cards till the lights came on, and that's when we had to go.
It's always weird.
And the first time meeting Andy and her sister Katrina.
Any good sport memories, Randy?
Sport memory, yes. Nearly every memory I have at Andy is a good memory. Actually, I do remember a story, and this is probably it's not so good. Well, this just shows what Andy was like as a player, like me myself being a number 7 or 6.
Wanker, yeah.
Yeah, whacker, and couldn't like running, so I didn't score many tries. Love smoking bags and drinking blood Wolvers. So, yeah, but the three of us did, to be fair, like
Done to ourselves justice, really.
and we were playing down in Wexford, and we had that, it was the Casey Cup, yeah, and there we were, and we never won. This is when we had a really bad losing streak, and so Andy came along and she was like freight trained and was able to score the tries, but I was of course behind her, waving the arms. Give the chance, give the chance, that's me. And she kindly did give me a chance, and I scored my first try.
She never let
But yeah, never let me live it down. Like the drinking afterwards, drinking out of the cup, like you would have got that one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was never lived down.
3 years later, she still probably say the same thing about that match.
Actually, yeah, absolutely.
What about the growler from Wexford? Anya.
Growler.
Remember the A? Really big girl. The two years decided, I'll just snap the shit out of her. Her arms, her head. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I love. Can't remember a lot of things. Yeah. Well, what was the head in the worst is. Yeah, but Andy, as a rugby player, was one of the best, and will always remember to be one of the best. Absolutely, I know, like it inspired me, but I was jealous at times, like 'cause I wanted to be that strong. Definitely, like green eye envy monster, but it always inspired me to do better and be a better rugby player because I wanted to be like Andy.
Or the fact you're on our back.
Yeah. Just the irritant players.
What else? Drinking memories.
Drinking memories.
Mm.
There are other ones I can't remember as well. Shoe head injuries.
Yeah, the hassles were a bit dushed.
There were good memories.
Definitely.
We have memories, even though like the three of us were friends for how many years through rugby, even though we knew we were outside, knew we were through school, but we were friends a good while.
Like 9.
But with the three of us, definitely clicked. And we're known as the three amigos.
Stooges.
Three stooges. Not to our faces. Not to our faces. But yeah, three amigos. But it's some of the best parts of my life. I wish I could go back with to look at them, kind of like play it out like a movie and remember some of them. Yeah.
Some less so.
When we had great coffee.
Oh, definitely. Other ones were good. And there's some brilliant ones that are just gone, like coming in here with the cup, and we were the only ones that won silverware that year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember crap.
And it was a chalice, but it was pure vodka.
That's all I can remember really as like at the pitch on the sit really.
We're fucking scrum cap. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Andy, she was the best looking woman in a scrum cap.
Taking out all her piercings and leaving them in my car.
I can't think of what else. Everybody's covered really kind of everything.
All the good ones. Any other good ones that we have? I think our fights in the car on the way about the night before were always brilliant. Taking makeup off. These are the entire reason I have baby wipes in my car, like.
Yeah, I suppose we'll admit it now, Andy, that we were hungover for 90% of every game. Now that we're all retired.
And no one can say that to us anymore about it. And the two of you are fucking queer.
We're okay, but still some of the best games I remember playing.
Yeah, so Andy came out to rugby one day. She just rocked up. I think the first thing I remember was Kim Dempsey said she saw Andy lifting a door in the estate somewhere and she was bringing this girl out. So I was like, all right, bring her. But one thing that sticks out, like, for the first 2 weeks, I can't, like, remember much, but I remember our first blitz. We did, like, this tournament thing up in Ashburn, and Andy was staying in a room with us. And one of the things that she did was, it was her first game. She was mad to go. And I just remember looking up at one stage, we were in our 22. She was in their 22, standing on her own, and she was screaming for us to kick the ball. I was like, what are you doing? You're outside. Anyway, she's just thinking of that's life.
Okay, I forgot about that. Oh my
so
God.
funny. So funny.
Oh, Andy will love hearing about that story. And I suppose, have you any other, anything that sticks out in your mind?
One thing actually
Yeah.
that does stick out was, I'll never forget, it was the Paul Cusack Cup final
Oh, yeah.
up in Donnybrook. And I was captain at the time, so the woman was coming to me to say who was the MVP of the day. And I remember trying to see where she was in amongst all the girls. But as soon as I saw her, it was like she just locked eyes and she was like, it's me. And then I couldn't say anything until your one announced her name, and she just erupted. It was so funny.
She knew.
You might miss her. She played savage that day, but she was just waiting, and as soon as we locked eyes, she was like, this is my time to shine.
Yeah. And I'd say she definitely did shine after that.
She was on cloud 9.
That's a good story. No, I actually forgot about that one in Ashburn. That's a good while ago.
Yeah.
That's just over 10 years ago or that.
Yeah.
I'd
I'd say, solid 10, 11 years, yeah. That was plastic.
and you're still playing, Kate, still going strong,
There's one here.
holding it for us.
Oh, and I'm back at the moment, so I'm holding on by a thread.
Really? How many more years left in that?
I don't know. I'm actually on year 16.
16, Kate. Oh my God. Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good going.
Yeah. Or just that old face that won't go away.
But we love to see it. And Andy will love to see this old face in front of her. And I suppose if you have a message for Andy, you can work away and say whatever you want to her.
Yeah, it's probably just that we miss you so much. Like, on the team, you're an integral part. You're still there with us all the time. Everyone still thinks about you. Everyone still talks about you. It's never been the same without having you there on the pitch. So just remember that, like, we don't get to see each other all the time, and we'd love to see you more. But just remember that you're always on our mind.
So when I first started playing rugby, I think we were under 12s, and I was not supposed to be playing under 12s because I was 8.5. But Lilo was our coach, and Andy would come the odd time, and she'd tell all these jokes to us, and jokes we weren't supposed to be saying out loud. And I go home and I said this to my mother, and she was like, "Where did you get that from?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just got it." No. But then we went on the scenes, and Annie was our coach, and we had to learn how to lift. And I was only this little stick yoke, and she threw me into the air, and I think I kicked someone in the face. It probably was Lilo. I kicked her in the face. She just laughed at me the whole time. It was the funniest thing.
Lick it by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
And I suppose, have you any like memorable stories or funny stories of the two girls coaching you or anything?
That's probably one of the only ones I can think of. Actually, no, we had a match one time, and there was another coach, and he was very rowdy, and the other two women had to be held back by the parents because they were being so like enthusiastic.
Andy and
As you would
Lilo.
say, yeah, as you would say, enthusiastic. So they had to be held back by the parents and told to walk away. But yeah,
And what are two women?
yeah, I remember watching them play in senior women's, and I was like 16, 15 at the time, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. It was, she got the ball, and broke through the line and went to go score a try, but then missed the try line because she couldn't slow down.
Oh, yeah.
And she just went over the dead ball and went,
I think I remember that one.
she just kept going, she's like, oh, I scored a try. I said, no.
Andy will love to hear about that.
That was gosh, that was so funny. But I remember I was like deathly scared then because I was like, oh my god, like these are like proper grown-ups and I'm only a baby. Yeah. But yeah, it was really good.
Lucky now play with the grown-ups.
Now I'm one of the grown-ups.
And how are you getting on play with the grown-ups?
Ah, it's good, yeah.
It's a very crack. Yeah. So you've all of Andy's coach and gut yeah.
As you would say, you know.
How's the handoff?
Be good. Yeah. I live by one rule though, which I did learn, which is everything's legal until the ref sees it.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And Andy would have definitely on by that rule. And I suppose if you have a little message you want to send to Andy, you can say hello or whatever you want.
Bye, Andy. I hope you're doing amazing, and we talk about you all the time, and you will always forever be an icon.
Hello, Kelsey.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Not in that. I suppose I'll ask you. You know Andy well.
Yeah.
You probably knew Andy before rugby, did you?
Would have kind of known from around town and been involved kind of in the club. Like I would have known her mum a lot and stuff. Yeah. Her mum used to get into trouble on sidelines a lot, which was very good. But yeah, no, I would have known Andy from around town anyway.
And through rugby, how do you know Andy?
So I same as a few of the girls, kind of came up through the years playing underage, and as senior women kind of would have played out here, trained out here, and we were here underage. So I then went up to senior and played a lot with Andy, and would have done a lot of travelling up and down with yourself, Lilo and Andy to games when I was underage.
Very mature, were they?
Very great at minding me and stuff. Yeah, very good.
And I suppose, what's a good memory of Andy as a coach or as a senior player? Anything that sticks out in your mind about Andy?
I always used to think to myself, I remember when I first kind of met Andy, I would have watched Andy playing rugby. I was like, thank God she's on our team. Not on the opposition. Andy is such a warrior of a person. And I remember she is such a prominent part of the team. But you know, absolute animal of a woman. I used to be like, thank God. But that's kind of all. I don't have any specific things. I wouldn't have ever really had Annie as a coach. I would have been that little bit older.
Okay.
Before she kind of came in coaching with the girls, but a little bit older than a few of the girls. But and just always remember she was such, as Blotna says, she was an icon, absolute icon out here.
That's lovely. I love that. Yeah, Andy will love that as well.
Brilliant.
And if we have a little message you want to send to Andy, you can work away.
Yeah, George, look.
Yeah, you can.
Hey Andy, how's things? I hope you're keeping well. We're all missing you out here, and we all love you lots.
Lovely, Kelsey.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. So you know Andy as a player and a ref.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it like to ref Andy?
Thankfully, I tried to avoid refereeing my own team because I was playing for a couple of years, well, a good few years at Andy, and then I stepped back from playing, and I was continuing to referee. So I tried where I could not let that overlap. Now it was, I'd say maybe a year and a half, 2 years after I finished playing, I got an appointment to referee Carlo and Riccardo Nicola Day. I spent my whole weekend going, lads, but somebody swap again, please. Please, somebody swap again. No joy. So I remember in the team talk, I went over to talk to girls before the game and go, listen, girls, I don't want to referee this game as much as you don't want me to referee. Please do not make it any more difficult than this. I think Gordon Matthews was your coach at the time. I was like, just don't make it any more difficult. And then Gordon goes, just fucking listen to her, please. Just don't make it any more difficult. Grant. Game went fine without just poor halftime, scrum, and scrum broke, and all of a sudden, Annie's in a punch-up. Apparently, somebody kept Kim Dempsey in the scrum, won't release her, and all of a sudden, Kim's in this punch-up, or Andy's in this punch-up with somebody, who I spoke to after game, and her only thing she gave about was Andy got the first punch in. That was the only, she wasn't annoyed about punch-up. We could argue what it did with that. I think it was half-time, and I just blew it up, and Paddy Maher was running line for me, and I go, well, he goes, she deserved it. She deserved it.
It's like, well,
Yeah,
you know,
the body said it.
and that was, and I remember going, ah, it's please don't make us. But obviously, and as I said, Annie would be like, she hears what you say, but then going, ah, sure, where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
And then the other memory is, I was just saying to Jan,
Yeah.
I had a Saturday night game drum versus Edenderry.
Wow.
I knew Edenderry didn't like me at this stage because they put official complaint about me into the rank.
Not like the dairy.
No, so that was grand. So I must have told Lilo. So I rock up to the game, do my whirl, turn around. There comes Lilo, Andy, Jan, and I think did you rock up, or was it Katrina? I think there was a third.
Could have. You may remind me. This sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Now.
So because Edenderry wanted to kill me, even though I wasn't playing.
Yeah, and we were there for backup.
Yeah, I had my cheerleader squad on the sideline, and obviously to make matters more fun, I was getting assessed on the game,
Oh, Fiona.
and it was just a typical Saturday night Edenderry Rec Round shit show. Like it was just, you know.
We remember it well.
And then I went and after the game, normally the assessor goes into the clubhouse and you go in afterwards, and my assessor came over to me. And next thing, the Edenderry coach comes up to me and he goes, "Do you realise what this penalty count was in that game?" And I was like, "No, but sure, I'm sure my assessor's going to point it out to me after the game." I don't think that went down well. And then the rat drum coach, Dave Fox, he came over to me and he went to the assessor going, the abuse she took on that pitch was uncalled for.
Really?
She was getting from the side, uncalled for. I haven't got a clue what to say to me. Because genuinely, when I go on a pitch, you can shout whatever abuse you want from the side. I don't hear it and it doesn't affect me. They didn't bring shake my hand after the game. Nobody shook my hand. Nobody spoke to me. Went to the clubhouse. Yeah. Had to be happy back there when I guess there because they just don't like me.
Well, let that. You'll remember that one well.
Oh yeah, definitely the punch up a Carol. She'll definitely remember. And as soon as it says Andy, Jan and Lilo about my cheer squad,
They remember it.
yeah. Thank God I had them there because I was like, this could go south.
And all up
There's no problems. It's just yourself in the pitch. The referee's always wrong in somebody's eyes.
Well, we've had a few of them amongst our years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I referee more, I'd have got that as well. So yeah.
But you play with Andy as well.
Yeah, I played a couple of years at Andy as well. Yeah, as I said, I was scrum half, so I was allowed to have a quick breakaway flanker that was like protected everybody as her little sister. Didn't matter they're bigger or smaller. And they're going, this is my family. You don't mess with my family. Simple as. And that was Andy's. I think that was Andy's motto. If you were her teammate or her friend, she defended you to the death, and that was it. And thankfully, I was on her team and not the opposition because I genuinely think in my position that if I would played against Andy, I would have got broke down. I've no doubts about
I
it.
think there is people around the country that are broke up from Andy still to this day.
Right, no doubts that Andy would have broken me up as a small as scrum half. She would have been in her element here. Scrum halves like me, she would have.
Oh yeah, version.
So yeah, no, that was definitely
That
glad she was on my team.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have a message for Andy, you can work away and say whatever you want.
I would love nothing more to have you on the sideline give me dogs abuse refereed again.
Yeah.
Either that or in the schoolyard picking up the kids, one or the other. Because I remember having those conversations. But I think if I could have that cheer squad again on the sideline, you, Lilo, Jan and Andy, instead of defending me this time, I quite happy take dogs abuse from Andy on the sideline for whatever I did wrong or she thought I did wrong. But I'm telling you, that would actually just to see her on the side and give me shit, I genuinely think I'd actually enjoy it.
And I would enjoy it too.
Oh, and I know better a woman than the 4 E's, the other 3 is just to encourage her, and even if she looked away, you tell her something just to get her mind up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Fiona, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. First memory, your first impression, or anything that sticks out of your mind about Andy.
I suppose with Andy it was always, and everyone is probably saying the same thing, but just her strengths in character and physically strong. I'll never forget one day she just she lifted me up in the air like above her, and I was like, it was incredible. And then I suppose I'll never forget the days we were playing rugby, and she loved to kick the ball away.
Do you remember when she scored a try when she kicked it over?
No, well, she chased down the pitch and she scored a try, and we were all like, "Why are you doing kicking the ball? How did you run that fast?"
And forward.
Exactly. But I suppose, yeah, she's just incredible rugby player and a great person.
Yep, that's good. If you have anything you want to say to Andy, a little message if you want, you can stick it to the camera and say it.
Yeah, I've shared this with her before, I think when we sent videos before, but there's really not a day that goes by that I don't think of her. And that's the honest truth. And I see my kids and I think to her, and I see what I have, and and I really do. I think of her every single day, and I miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's great that we're getting together, and it's just, I love that she can, she gets to hear the stories that we have to say, but at the same time,
Oh, she will love this. Yeah. It'll be fantastic. Thank you so much.
I saw the
Hi, Laura. Thanks for coming out here to chat about Andy Brocken. I suppose you know Andy. How do you know Andy?
I would have known Andy, say, from around Port Arlington, but I wouldn't have known her. And then when I started playing rugby with her, that's when I really got to know her.
And how was that?
Cray. In a good way, yeah. I'm glad I was on her team and no one else.
Well, yeah, we've had a lot of people say that.
Yeah, and there's a reason.
And when you think of Andy, is there any specific funny story or anything consequent?
I have a few, but the one that always stands out, because you, me, and I was hoping Kim Dempsey wouldn't say this story, but we were playing Edenderry in Edenderry. Your dad was coach, and tensions were high even before we got there, because there's always rivalry with Court Arlington and Edenderry, as you know. So got there anyway. Well, it was going good, fine. Your father started row, I think, on the sideline, so he got sent to his car. I was captain at the time, so everything, the responsibility was kind of on me, which, no, I wasn't really up for the job that time. But anyway, an incident happened on the pitch where one of the Edenderry girls complained that they got bit on the head. And Kim Dempsey happened to be in that area, so I put the blame on Kim. We had a full-on battle on the pitch. Like, what does she think she was? Who does she think she was? That wasn't us as a team, and like, Jesus Christ. So this went on. Kim kept saying to me, it wasn't me, I swear to God, like, you know me. And I was like, no, I know it was you, Kim, because that time she kicked a girl up the arse when she was bent over and sent her flying. So, yeah, Kim got all the blame. So that was grand. I actually think we lost that match. It was horrendous from start to finish, but we ended up in the Anvil, as we usually do after a match on Sunday night. And Andy started with midnight, and Andy started laughing. I was like, what are you laughing at? And Andy confessed that she was the one that bit her on the head, because Kim had kept saying to me that whoever bit your one on the head had no gum shields in, because your one had teeth marks.
Right.
And Kim was like, but I had my gum shields in, like, it couldn't have been me. And Andy was like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I had no gum shields and my left the teeth marks on
Oh, just fun.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah, I did have to apologise to Kim after.
Which was worse, though.
Yeah, way worse.
Oh, that's a great story. If you have anything you would like to say to Andy, a little message or anything, you can write away.
I think about you every single day, Andy. Certain things come into my head, certain memories come into my head or come up on Facebook, say rugby photos or that. And I've had some good days over my life, but my rugby days were one of the best, between playing rugby, the friendships, our sessions, Sunday night in the Anvil, the Goodyear for a sit down takeaway, absolutely gee. I could meet your mom or your dad in the car. And yeah, so there's not a day that I would say that I don't think about you. And if I had one wish for something, my wish would be to go back to one of those matches, even if it was Eagle Larry and you biting that girl on the head. That's, yeah, they were really, really good days. And I think even in the moment at that time, we didn't realize how good they were. Or it's only looking back and now, like, I had to go. Well, like, I'm living my rugby thing through my kids, but it's not compared to what we did and what we had. So yeah, thinking about you all the time, Andy. I met your two kids for the first time with your mom outside, and you can't deny them. Definitely not. Yeah, and they're gorgeous, and I hope to see you soon.
That's lovely, Sinead. Thank you very much. Oh, that's lovely.
So I would have played under 16s and Andy and Lilo would have coached us.
And how was that?
Wild. Very wild. In the best way possible.
Okay.
I would have started playing at 12, playing under 15s, but when I started there was no under 15s women's team at the time. So I would have started training with the 18s and eventually moved on. But it was just like, we were like bag cats for around this. We were wild. I found Andy to be great.
Yes.
Very kind. Lovely. Wild. Like, we used to just have the best crack. Like, there was times we'd be out on the pitch, all of us hanging, and the women...
That's number 16. Oh my god.
Roaring at us to get our shit together. I have, like... She was a very good coach.
Okay.
She was very good at egging us on to get going. And I found her very good when my dad got go up as well. She was very caring, very kind.
Oh, lovely.
It made life a lot easier.
Oh.
Have an outlet and to have the likes of Par and Milo, who understood as women in particular playing rugby that it's not the same event. It's more aggressive. People are horrible sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, she'd pick us up when we were down. She'd make us laugh. Sometimes we'd cry laughing. But I just found altogether the best bunch. And to see some of us still playing now senior is great.
That's lovely. Yeah. Lovely words, Shannon.
Thank you.
And do you have anything else that sticks out of your mind about Andy? I suppose you said it nice. Yeah, I think that
just lifting in the lineouts and that, like, roaring at us, telling us, if you don't get her up, she'll go, on now, it's on the ground. Oh.
And if you have a little message for Andy, you can speak away there. You can say whatever you want.
Andy, we're all rooting for you and we're all playing for you. Still, a lot of us. So,
because you're playing senior levels now. Yeah? See it there now. Okay, and how is that going for you?
It's going well. I gave it up at 18
okay.
for a while because I was too hard with work and stuff. And I'm back now since September, October.
You'll be
delighted.
Yeah, good. Should be delighted that your other 16s are all playing.
I know.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And we've been asking everybody kind of their first memory or impression or something that sticks out of their mind about Andy. Do you have anything?
I was thinking about it actually now there a second ago, and I was thinking of, I suppose it would have been Caden Cassie who came to play with us in Kildare. So that was what kicked off the whole amalgamation of these. So I'd say she was fairly wary of these Kildare ones coming down, and they're like, oh no, aren't these coming in here now? So I'd say that was my first thing. Like, Andy's, as we know, Andy's tough out. So that was probably my first impression of her. I was like, this son now in training. I said, she's get one you on her rest with, yeah. And then when the cigarette comes out, you're like, damn me, I'm not going to mess with this. So that's probably first impression.
Okay.
Yeah, it's strong out.
Yeah. And I suppose, is there any good story or funny story on or off the pitch that can come to mind?
Plenty. I suppose on the pitch, Andy was so strong. Like, I just always remember I'd be lifted in the lineouts and Andy would hold me up with an arm. Like, you'd never be worried that you'd be dropped or you'd be falling to the ground. Like, no matter what way the lineout went, Andy'd have you, like, she's so strong with the front leg lifting. So, always felt safe when Andy was lifting for sure. scrums, you'd always wonder, if you kick between her and Lido, who was to drink. You were probably involved as well. There's sympathy and nice out to drink in the scrums some Sundays. So it's usually the three, isn't it? But the question would always be asked, Andy, is that you? But I know it was the three. You'd know, wouldn't you?
You could tell. They were also somebody warm up, so it was like more the cigarette was the warm up. Yeah, and a half time as well. But I would like the opposition see them having fights. Now they know where as but then she comes storming up the pitch. So yeah.
And I suppose we had a good few nights out, some of year, amazing.
We would have won the one up in Donnybrook. Oh, yeah. Do you know was that the second year? I'm trying to remember. I know we had the win in Nace, but the one we had up in Donnybrook and with the win there, we come back in the bus. I remember shot straight out of the bottle. Yeah. We had a great night then at Cunningham's as well. That was Annie and the cups as well. Do you know, I still have videos.
Plenty of videos of Andy drinking out of a cup.
But out singing, oh my gosh, that was great night. It was great to, as a team, have those wins together. Like, we two really big wins.
Yeah.
After the few years playing together, actually Bonnie had left us at that late, but we'd
He's old, that one.
yeah, I know. It was really good. The win in Nace, particularly, that was our first big win
again our team.
Yeah.
That's first Leinster League, was it?
To beat Port Leash first.
Oh yeah.
And to with us in Magni.
We had Rosie in earlier. Oh yes, yeah, good shots.
Yeah, but like to have those two big wins, I think was was amazing to hear, and Andy was a huge part of that as well.
Absolutely, a big part of it. Yeah. And I suppose if you have a little message you want to send to Andy, you can work away.
Miss you, Andy. Miss you on the team. You're really, as I was saying, you're so strong. We miss you here. Definitely in the front row. I think that's scroll. If we got hammered that Sunday, we could have done it to you. But hope you're doing well.
I know you've had to introduce you because Andy's going to know that little face. So I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to ask you how you know Andy to rugby because you're more than rugby yourself and Andy, if you want to tell me your story.
Yeah, so me and Andy are childhood friends and we were next door neighbours for about 15 years and we've been friends ever since.
I love it. And what was Andy like as a friend?
She was good to have as a friend because people were scared of her. So nobody would mess any heaps. I'd be like, I'll just get Andy off you. I know. But she had like a really kind of hard exterior, but she was always so kind and just a really good friend.
But I'm having that broccoli in your back pocket.
Yeah, and Katrina as well. Like, you had the two of them.
And then when you came together playing rugby, what was that like?
So I probably would have never played rugby if it wasn't for Andy. So she was the one who kind of gave me the push, and I was really nervous. So much as I bought, like, I just felt like I would be so bad at it. And she brought me out here, and you were all so welcoming. And for the short while that it lasted, I did really enjoy it. And it was just, a really nice group of girls.
Good, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. And when you think back to those rugby days, you think of Andy's or any story, or even outside of your friendship, is there any story that comes to mind for you about Andy?
I remember just before I moved out of Arlington Estate, me and Andy had gotten particularly close. There was like a few months before I moved where we got like really, really close. We were spending loads of time together. And then obviously I was moving now, but like devastated, like the end of the world. It was absolutely like I was only moving up the road, but like we were both like so devastated. I can imagine. And then like I moved out of Arlington Estate, and then the first night in Cronua, like I didn't even have like a bed or blinds. There was no carpets on the floor, and like Andy stayed with me the first night, and we sat on like a little single mattress on the ground. And we just like stayed up all night, and you were like, we have to stay friends like now, and when I look back now, like it seemed so silly at the time, but we were just so worried that like me moving away would impact our friendship, but it never did.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, because obviously how close you were as well. They were lovely words, and if you have a little message for Andy, you can work away.
Okay,
You can talk to the camera, yeah?
Okay. Hi, Andy. Good. I'm so proud to be your friend. and I love you.
Now, Andy, I'm not the only crier. She always lets me. Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to go with Elena first. Just because she's the youngest. You're okay. You're the oldest. You don't need it.
So what?
Yeah, well, you're both special. So we're going to go Elena and then you. Then back to her and then back to you.
Oh yeah,
I'll be behind as well to help.
I know which was he.
So are we ready?
Yep.
So what's your name?
Elena.
And what's your name?
And
Evan and Elena. So, Elena, who is Andrea Brocken?
she's my mother.
Evan.
She's the one as well.
She is your mother. And how old is your mammy? Well, we both can guess. We won't say the right answer. How old is your mammy? You can say any answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Don't worry.
I know she's in her 30s.
Okay, that's good. So give me a guess.
34?
Okay, well, Evan.
5.
Okay, right. We'll have to see on this one. And Elena, what makes your mummy happy?
And when she sees our faces, she smiles.
Absolutely. And
Because she loves to see us.
yes, yeah. And Evan, what makes your mummy happy?
She loves to see us. She likes us a lot. She cares about us really a lot.
Absolutely. She does care about you an awful lot. And so, how do you know your mummy loves you?
Because every time when she sees us, she smiles, and I know she loves us when she smiles and she says, I love you.
Oh, yes, yeah. And Evan, how do you know your mummy loves you?
Because if I look at the face, she smiles.
Yeah.
And she can't talk, but she gotta. That means I love you.
And that's what she pulls her raspberries. I love it. So Elena, how do you make your mommy laugh or be happy? What would you do?
To make my mom laugh, I would make funny faces or do funny sounds. And
What kind of funny sounds? No. That's a good one. What would you, Evan?
I'll just make faces, sounds, and go like,
That's a good face. Okay, next question. Elena, what is your mommy's favorite sport?
it's so obvious. She plays rugby and she loves it.
So obvious.
my mom does rubbish so much.
So much. So you're both in agreement, is it?
Rugby.
Rugby. And do you remember when your mommy played rugby?
Yeah.
Do you?
Funny as well.
Yeah.
When I was 4, I watched her play a match.
Wow. And what was she like to watch as a rugby player?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome and amazing. I picture, but it was like my jaw dropped to the ground.
She was 1997 Chilean out of 10%. That's how good she is.
That's how good she was.
She is 900 Chile out of 10.
Evan, what a compliment. Your mommy is going to be delighted to see
I'm
this.
just gonna say she's about the world's bestest player, all time.
Elena, I am in agreement with you. And you know what? I was always glad that I played on your same team as your mammy and not against your mammy because I was terrified. Yeah.
You and me, you'll be hammered.
Oh, I'd be running that way.
You run the opposite way.
Exactly.
You'll be out of this world.
So we had that. So do you have any? What's your favorite story or funny story about your mammy? I'm gonna go with Elena first.
I always loved the story when me and my mum used to do our secret handshake
Okay.
before we went to bed.
Oh, I love it. But it's a secret only between the two of you, is it?
Yeah, so one night when I was doing it, my throat got sore of doing it, so we had to stop doing it. It was like,
So is there some shouting involved in this?
no. It was a very long one.
Oh, right, okay. What about you, Emma? A funny story?
I used to do with the singing, like that.
Yeah, all lovely.
So time she tells me a story and I laugh.
Yeah, that was good. They're lovely things to have, aren't they?
Yeah.
And so another question, Elena, what do you want to be when you get older?
I'm an all-time Irish dancer.
Wow.
In Dance with the Stars or something.
Oh my
Choir
God.
dance.
That's fantastic. And Evan, what do you want to be when you get older?
Be at all current staff football club.
Fantastic. They are two very good answers. I absolutely love them. And you did so well. And if you want to say anything at the end, like, hi, mommy, because she's going to be looking at it. Yeah. Hi. Lads, that was brilliant. So good. Are you happy with that? Is there anything else you want to say or anything you're happy?
I love you, Mom.
Oh, that's
I
all.
love you too.
Yeah.
Miss you so much.
I love it. That's brilliant.